Hello everybody, welcome to F1 Grandstand. I'm Tony Craig, and if you are an F1 fan, you are in the right place for all your F1 news. There's no pit lane drama today, just a full-blown leadership shake-up at Red Bull. So buckle up, I'm covering Horner's exit, the Mekies era launch, and Permane's new boss role. And yeah, I'm going deep into the nitty gritty and unpick the whole story. So don't forget to have your say in the comments. So here's your roadmap for this show. First story, Christian Horner sacked. What led to this? What do we know so far? Will we touch on that probe, which seemed to be the start of his demise? Of course we will. Second story, what Laurent Mekies named the new Red Bull Racing boss. Who is he? What can he bring to the team? And then we've got the third story, which is Alain Permane, who's been appointed boss at Racing Bulls. What does this mean across the operation? Now, obviously, these stories are tightly connected, so stay tuned while I try to join up the dots. So, first story, Christian Horner sacked after 20 record-breaking years. Before we get into that, let's have a little look at his history and achievements. Now, he joined Red Bull in 2005 as the youngest ever F1 team principal at the age of 31. He guided the team to 6 constructors titles, 8 drivers titles, and 124 Grand Prix wins. Now, you've got to admit, that's a hell of a record. He also elevated Adrian Newey, signed him back in 2005. He also raced Sebastian Vettel to 4 straight championships in 2010 to 2013, and he steered Max Verstappen to dominance in 2021 to 2024. So, his record speaks for itself. He's been hugely successful as a team boss, but then there's that inappropriate behaviour probe. Now, on February 5th, 2024, Racing Bull initiated a serious investigation into inappropriate and controlling behaviour, which was alleged against Horner by a female colleague. But you've got to take this into account. An independent King's Counsel conducted an 8 to 9 hour interview, and by the 28th of February, Horner was cleared. The report was confidential, but the complainant retained the rights to appeal. However, WhatsApp messages were leaked in March, which reignited the controversy despite his second exoneration in August 2024. Internal rifts deepened between Helmut Marko, Jos Verstappen, and Horner. Now, there was a devastating fallout because that triggered the departures of Adrian Newey, Jonathan Wheatley, and Will Courtney in late last year in 2024. So what's the current situation and impact? Well, Red Bull officially dismissed Horner on the 9th of July 2025, mid-season. Now, their reasons, get this, leadership and performance needs. Well, performance has slid. The team form slid to 4th in the standings, trailing McLaren by 288 points. Relations have been strained between Max Verstappen, who is reportedly frustrated. His father, Jos, publicly called for Horner's removal. So, the sacking is definitely linked to Max and Jos. Red Bull are so keen to keep and retain Max's services that they were prepared to sack Horner just in case they can secure Max's services moving forward. They've even talked about offering a title sponsorship position in the team for Max. But we've got to talk about this. Has driver power gone too far? Because we can't ignore that Red Bull's second car has not performed. It's failed with Perez at the wheel. It's failed with Lawson at the wheel. And it is failing right now with Tsunoda at the wheel. The one thing that's for sure, you cannot win a Constructors' Championship with just one car. So the reactions to Horner's sacking, well, Max Verstappen, he thanked Christian Horner publicly in a heartfelt parting message. Thank you very much. But what does that mean? Was he an integral part of his sacking? But publicly, he wants to say thank you. And then you've got Bernie Ecclestone, who, well, bluntly labelled Horner an idiot, running the team and an idiot for running the team as his personal domain. And then you've got a mix of the Red Bull insiders. So the Thai owners seem to favour Horner. They stood by him through that investigation and probe. But then you've got the Austrian side who have been pushing for a change for the last 18 months. So what's going to be next? Well, Horner has basically said he's going to take some quiet time with his family. And as you know, he's married to Geri Halliwell, who is currently considering a Netflix-style series. So, if you like Drive to Survive, I'm sure you'll like that one if they go ahead. So, what's going to happen now for Horner? He's on gardening leave. So, Red Bull are negotiating a huge payout for Horner. Now, that payout is rumoured to be around 60 million. Sounds like a lot of money. But that does bring me in to this guy. Now, if you look at his biggest adversary over the last, well, 8 or 9 years, this guy, Toto Wolff. Now, he's obviously the team boss over at Mercedes, but the difference is he's rumoured to own a 30% equity share of the racing team. So that equates to £1 billion. So there's all these rumours that Horner, during his tenure as Red Bull team boss, that he was pushing for an equity stake in the team, which he never got. So moving forward, with Horner's track record, if he does come back with a team, I bet you any money he comes back with an equity share of the team as an owner. Because people love to win. And the one thing you can say about Horner is, you know, his record speaks for itself. He is a winner. You know, even Adrian Newey, who went over to Aston Martin, he got some equity in the team. So the return to F1, whether it's going to be managerial or media, is on the cards for Horner. It's just going to be very exciting to see whether he comes back with a team, like maybe there's a new team, maybe it's BMW, maybe Pagani. You know, who else is not in the Formula One space right now that should be? Who knows? But whatever he does, I think he's going to come back with a bang. Do not write that guy off. Okay. Second story. Let's have a look at this smiling, happy Laurent Mekies, because he's taken charge over at the Red Bull team. Now let's have a look at his background. He was born in 1977. He's a mechanical engineer by trade. He worked at Arrows in 2001, Minardi, then became FIA safety director. He was recruited by Ferrari as racing director. In 2024, he moved to Red Bull as the chief high performance engineer. Now his current situation is he's named the CEO and team principal of Red Bull Racing. And that was on the same day as Horner's sacking. What does he bring to the team? It's technical knowledge. And he's also bringing a safe, steady set of hands to steer the ship. Sky Sports said, you know, Mekies' main challenge is to retain Verstappen because of the mounting pressure from rivals like Mercedes. So it sounds like Mekies' major task is to steady the ship and retain the services of Max Verstappen. Can he do it? I mean, he has had a good run with the Racing Bulls. I mean, currently they're scoring points, right? Both cars are on sort of level footing. The scoring points, Lawson seems to have had a bit of a revival. Scoring points, did well at Silverstone. But can he secure Verstappen's future? Now that's the big question. Because if Verstappen was part of Horner's exit and on a hope and a whim that they may be able to return, you know, to retain his services, I mean, that is some cold shit. If he ends up going to Mercedes, he stabs Horner in the back, goes to Mercedes, and they don't retain his services anyway, that's some cold stuff. But can Mekies reassert Red Bull's dominance? That's what we're waiting to see. It's too early to tell, but he's happy as Larry. Look at him. He's obviously in his old Racing Bulls outfit there. We will get new graphics, but there you go. That's who's next. And our third story, Alan Permane, named the team principal at Racing Bulls. Now, you might not know this guy, but here's a little bit about his history. So Alan Permane, he's age 57. He started in 1989 at Benetton, then Renault, and Alpine until 2024. He became the sporting director at Racing Bulls in 2024. So his current situation is immediately stepped into Mekies' position as the boss of Racing Bulls. And his job and his main goal is to continue the progress that they've been making and keep the development of those young drivers in Red Bull's junior team. Now, the paddock really like this guy. They say he's the ideal anchor for the junior team. You know, he's got good strategic brain. You know, and if he can nurture the youth pipeline, then he's the right choice. But what do you think? Don't forget, those comments are there for you to tell me what you think. This is a community at the end of the day. I want to see what you guys are thinking about these appointments and whether these are the right appointments to steady the entire Red Bull ship. So all these stories are connected. They're basically three moves of dominoes. You got Horner out, Mekies slots into the main job, and Permane fills his shoes at Racing Bulls. It is a complete ecosystem reshuffle. The Red Bull reset, I'm going to call it. But what do you think? Tell me in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you very much for watching my first F1 Grandstand show. Please like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell so you can keep up to date. I will be back tomorrow with more news.